we'll get started on the work session.
What's the motion, Mike? Or
It doesn't, you
Dave?
don't need a motion for this. Just very casual, just ask her to come up and present.
We're ready to
Are we gonna
go.
go into closed session?
No, we're in work session.
Are you ready?
Jennifer?
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, guys.
So this evening, wanted to kind of give you a little bit of backstory of why I wanted to suggest some items for you to consider on technology here in the chamber. A couple months back, planning and zoning was having some issues. It's a variety of pieces kind of all coming together. Some of the things we'll be fixing in the background just between community development and tech services, but others lead to some other conversation. So they were experiencing some significant issues with trying to deal with a paper packet that is either 8.5 by 11 or like maybe an 11 by 17 site plan, which has gotten fairly well degraded in terms of the quality, either submitted by the applicant or what we've done with it in order to build a packet. These packets we build, I don't even know how many days it takes you. I'm assuming at least one full day to compile a planning and zoning packet that gets mailed to planning and zoning members in advance. They work from paper here in the chamber because you have 7 PCs and they are a larger body. What we'd like to be able to do is transition them to electronic packets, which is an issue just for space accommodation with the way things are set up here. So as part of that, wanted to explore transitioning the entire dais to iPads, and we would buy enough iPads in order to accommodate planning and zoning and you all. They'd remain here in the chamber, and we would just have them loaded up just like you do today. How many of you are not familiar with an iPhone or an iPad? I think when I talked to Donna, most of you have used those, so the interface isn't hopefully going to be too much of a challenge. I see a lot of you struggle with trying to jump back and forth between things. I know 1 or 2 of you have commented that if I go out to a web browser, I'm having a hard time getting back into the loaded PDF packet. I think the iPad, in terms of everyone knowing that I'm jumping back and forth between apps all the time, that might be a simpler navigation for you. Give you the touch screen so that if you're looking at a map and you're needing to zoom in on something, you can do it a little bit easier with the touch screen interface than you can with your mouse. So that would be one component of some upgrades here in the chamber. 2 other things that were budgeted for are placed in the capital plan that you all have approved and budgeted then for 2019, which would be replacing this document camera with one that is considerably more up to date and high def, so that if you do have somebody coming in, putting something down on the thing, hopefully you have a better opportunity to actually see it on the screen. And I know that down here sometimes it's a challenge for you too. And second component would be to replace the projector with the best that we can get right now. We're actually contemplating either, as opposed to just buying one for here, there is an extremely nice projector in the cafeteria at the EOC, which might be better used here and replace the one in the cafeteria. It won't be a high use location there at the EOC, but it would definitely be the quality of what you're seeing here. That would be it. I know there's a few of you I've chatted with who've had questions about what else can we do in terms of display here in the chamber. In the short term, I wouldn't say that there's a lot of improvement that we could make to here or to adding additional screens. I did talk a little bit with Christine, and John's here last week. If we contemplated, could we add another screen halfway back? You're going to block the cameras, so it's a weight of, do you care more about an ability to see things yourself or quality of the broadcast to the public? I mean, no offense to Jim, but we could get by with not having, 8 different angles on cameras in here. A lot of the cities have 1 view, 2 views, 3, we have a lot. So if for some reason that might be something that you decide the pros and cons of being able to have an additional screen outweigh the benefit of having 3 cameras in the back, that would be an option. However, this of course is not the ceiling above. So you go quite a bit higher up to deck, and you still have a mosaic that I think there's desires to one day restore. We would not be restoring it by hanging more stuff in here. So that would be something we'd need to contemplate, and I'm guessing would have a cost to it. So short term, I think we could do some improvements with the iPads. We'll replace the projector and replace the document camera. And then, yes, sir, go ahead.
Did you look at putting another screen down here?
That would be somewhat of the same thing of where are you pulling power, where are you pulling data off of that exterior wall. Could certainly discuss that and explore that more with Christine. I didn't get into anything that was going to be a time-consuming conversation with facilities or IS right now. Give them through a few projects and find some time to talk about that kind of thing in a few months. Yes.
The only time I use an iPad is when we travel because they're smaller. Personally, I don't like the smaller screen. My eyes are getting old, and that's the problem with an iPad. I mean, did you think about maybe just doing the laptops? Okay.
We could do the laptops as an option. I did have Mike Foster, who's our tech services manager, brought the largest iPad Pro that we would be looking at, which is at least the size of that. Go ahead and be
So it's
enlightened.
not a standard iPad then, it's a big
It's
one.
the 13-inch iPad Pro.
Okay. And then how would you put a stand on it to use it here?
Actually, not the same.
Okay.
What's the
We
budget?
we do a case and a keypad, or a keyboard with it. And we can, I think the total estimate on doing the total number we would need for 11, I think for planning and zoning was about $9,600, and we can cover that in this year's budget out of our PC replacement line, no problem.
Well, Mr. Brazel always asks me how to use the one he's got, so this one here is gonna be really tough.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be really confused, but I'm used to that.
Yeah. This really comes up more at planning and zoning, and I know, Dave, you said on planning and zoning for a long time. We really need to come up with something. People are going up to that screen and trying to point, and, you know, we've gone as far as have a broomstick to try to
We do
point
have
to.
laser pointers now, like deployed everywhere. There might be one like between every one of your tables, and there's like 2 or 3 of them over here, so if any given time now, you can use some of these.
But if you take that, Jennifer, and shine it up there, some of them are hard to, that one worked.
That's why we got, Jim just ordered ones he knew would be visible on the screen. and,
Okay.
I mean, if we could buy another 20 of them, it's super cheap,
Yeah.
and be able to make
All right.
sure we have it.
The other thing, those laser pointers are about $5. Probably wouldn't be a bad deal to have one of these at every council place. And if you've got a specific question from where you're at, you can point to it. The other thing, as far as the iPad, the only thing I could see problems with is I got fat fingers that don't work too good and they're old because they're old. But like, for instance, with the clicker I do use the scroll bar on the left side of the screen now a lot. And with a mouse, it's pretty easy to get the right thing. It's a lot tougher with a finger. Is there a possibility you could maybe load up an agenda, like tonight's agenda, on one of those things and leave it at council office for maybe people to play with and see if they like it? Or before you buy 11 of them, I mean?
Yeah, I don't know if you'll be able to load up the council packet from Donna this evening without any connectors, but we could definitely, even tonight, just pull up one of the larger bills off of the webpage, and then you can see how easy or difficult it may be for you to scroll through it, and feel free and play
Yeah, I mean,
along.
we've never used anything like that in the format of
Sure.
a meeting, and it'd be pretty nice to see if everybody says, heck, I get along with it fine, and that's fine, but there may be issues and there may not be issues. We don't know till we try it, you know?
Yeah.
Any particular reason why you want to do the iPads and not like a Surface Pro or something?
We've had, how are our new generation of Surface Pros going over? We actually we had some 2s and 3s for quite a while.
I mean, it's mainly Windows 10.
Come on up and,
So for ease of use, I mean, I think the iPad is a lot easier to use than a Windows-based Windows 10 tablet. I mean, if all you guys are looking at maps and the PowerPoint and the agenda, the iPad's probably going to be a lot easier navigation.
Okay.
Because the tablet's going to give you a lot more options and a lot more areas to get into that, you know, you might not be able to get back to the packet, similar to what you're on Windows 7 now, but Windows 10, you know, takes up, you know, a little bit more complicated.
yeah, and if you're not familiar with Windows 10 on a tablet, it would be a decent transition. I even found it somewhat annoying and challenging to navigate.
She's a lot younger.
But yeah, we can, to your point, we can definitely leave an iPad, maybe two, for a couple of weeks, however long you need, and
Yeah.
you guys can test them out.
I mean, I think if you instructed Donna how to do it, and
Yes,
she
sir.
could show us, and we can see if there's a fault with using them, we sure could pick it up before we buy them.
Yeah, I can work with Donna.
Do you like an iPad better than maybe an iMac or something like that? That you could have a larger screen?
Ours is about, if we have to get planning and zoning up here, where do you put it? It's a 10-member board or 11? So 3 more of you squeezed in here with
Gotcha.
hardware is our issue.
I was just trying to think about what Mr. Cronin was talking about, and you could, even on the cheaper iMacs, you can do a 21-inch screen, 22-inch screen on those, which will give you a bigger screen than what we have to deal with here. But, okay.
And when I spent 2 years on planning and zoning, I don't remember more people at the dais here. Was there, you talking about for the people, the staff members?
No, it's a 10-member board. So you don't really
We
notice
just
it
never
when
had
it's
10
just
show
paper,
up, I
but yeah,
guess.
well, that's possible too.
It's a little crowded up here.
Only other question I had is, I know, Councilman Cronin, you've had some issues over time opening packets and things at home. Donna thought that might be a mail server that you are using, but if we need to, we could get any of these with a data service on it, paid for out of the council budget, and if you have good AT&T coverage, better than your home.
Most of the problems I've had, I have everything auto-forwarded to my personal email. I keep it on my county one for record, but I have it auto-forwarded because I check that regularly 3-4 times a day. And sometimes with the files, when they get auto-forwarded, don't auto-forward correctly.
Okay.
The other thing is I don't spend as much money on licenses as the county does, so sometimes some of the departments will send me a file that I don't use, but I use a Chromebook for most things. I mean, because I like Google Chrome a lot, so everybody's different. And I guess that's another way of looking at this. Since there may be some people that, like Mike, may like a Surface Pro, and maybe I would like a regular laptop, and maybe Joe wants something different. I don't know if it would be feasible to have plan and zoning do their own thing. I think we're getting along what we have here right now, but then you've got 2 sets of equipment up here, that would probably be
So one
problematic.
of the things I didn't like is we pushed out a new group policy 2-3 weeks ago. You guys all got affected by that group policy and you were all locked out. Management of an iPad would be a little bit different, so we can't accidentally create those kind of issues as readily. So I like that aspect of it. And again, I think on the more and more of this stuff, when you're looking at site plan details, where you can zoom that in and move that thing around in a different way, I think the iPad would be easier to use, but really it's about how do we squeeze stuff in here for 10-member planning and zoning.
I like the iPad. I have the smaller version of that with that exact stand at my office, so it works great.
And on the support side, they hate different kinds of devices. And would certainly to try and support 7 of you if you were using different devices that either had different Windows versions, or one's an iPad and an Apple device, the others aren't. It'd be a lot easier for everyone to provide support if we're looking at only one.
I deal with a lot of detailed mechanical drawings at my job at work, and the ones that we have those high-resolution, really large monitors, and those, I mean, if you really, you can't use that, of course, for that, but I think the bigger the monitor, the better the resolution, the better it would be for P and Z. So, but that's because some of those, I know you've got to keep blowing it up and blowing it up, and by the time you blow it big enough to see what it is, the detail's gone. So, but, I've not experienced the resolution on what the device you're talking about.
I think the easiest thing about the iPads, or the touchscreens overall, is just that ability to do what we all do on our phones. When you look at something, to be able to spread it out and really zoom in quickly and easily, and then go back to it again. That to me is one of the key points. When sometime at planning and zoning meetings, we'll have people that are looking at it there and pulling out their phone and trying to do a real quick Google Earth view of the same thing, and then pass phones around. So I think it's really needed. Which technology, I don't care. I'll leave it to the experts to really say on that. I think that the differences between a lot of them have gone away. It's fairly easily to pick up a Android base versus an iPad and still be able to operate it.
So we'll leave an iPad or two with Donna. Feel free, though, too, if you would like, and it may be really helpful with a couple of you who I don't know what you are working with when you're in the middle of a meeting. Schedule a time, come in, we'll have it already loaded up, and you can either sit with me or Mike and quickly show us, hey, you know what, I'm constantly looking at this. Maybe I use Google Earth, I prefer that, or if you like using the county GIS map. And so we can just have a good idea of how you're using the device, and if we need to come up with another solution, we can. But for the most part, it's just going based on what I believe you guys are looking at during the meeting, and I'm not up there, so give it a test and let me know.
The actual data you put in the packet is gonna remain the same, right? So I mean, if what we're pulling up at home doesn't change, you're not gonna change the
Data will
format.
remain the same, but there's no reason why, if all of you want the county GIS map up and you're used to using it, that when Donna opens them up and loads everything for the day, she can't already have the packet, the GIS map, Google Earth, whatever else you guys may want. So that it's already set for you and you're not trying to do that at the last minute before a meeting starts.
Does that thing have enough memory to store like the charter and the UDO and all that too? Can you put all
That stuff's all best interacted with in the E-code. So it's pulling up the web page for our online ordinances, and you can so easily click through the chapters or search by key term. That would be the best way of
The
doing
ability
it.
to have that at the meeting would be pretty nice, so.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anything else miscellaneous or? Hearing none, I guess we'll just take a
Close the work session.
work session and be back here at 7 sharp.
What do you think?